What's up, guys? We're back with a not Rick and Morty, but kind of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's the show that makes you think it's Rick and Morty, but it's actually not. It could fit in very well in an interdimensional cable episode. I am kind of curious if they'll ever do that crossover, though. Needless to say, we are back for season 2. This is one I don't know how much I was necessarily shaking in my seat waiting for the second season, but I did enjoy the first season more than I think I thought I would, and I was excited for this going into it. And after binging the whole second season, the both of us have opinions, like everybody.
Everyone.
So, Michael, where do you want to start off with this?
Well, so similar to Rick and Morty, there's a plot, but there's not really a plot, you know? So I think probably the best place to start is to just go over some standout episodes. I think one that kind of stays with you is the finale. It is great, especially the very end of it. But you have a great plot to work around in the finale episode. Another interesting episode is there's more action at the wall. We get a very emotional story there. Throughout, I think 3 or 4 episodes, they focused a little bit more on the wall in season 2, I believe. And I'm interested to see where it goes in the future. But yeah, that was an interesting side plot for sure. And there's a lot of new characters or old returning characters that we saw that we got some character development and the
Red Goobler.
The Red Goobler, yeah.
Yeah, or he's just called Red, or at least that's what he goes by for a little bit when he's not saying obscenities.
Yes.
Yeah, there's also, what's that other one? There's another episode. I can't remember. Maybe it's tied in. No, it's not tied into the finale. I don't even remember what the main theme of it was, but I just love the side plot in it where you have, what is it? I'm forgetting the names of the one, but you have the main one that's the scientist, right? And he's pissed at Terry because he keeps asking him to watch was it Fast and the Furious marathon? So he sends something a letter back in time through this sci-fi device to change his personality, and I just love that side plot in that one episode. I can't remember what the other part of the plot was in that one, but I think overall I liked that one maybe the most besides the wall. I am curious that you said that you think you got more of the wall in this episode or this season, because out of my knowledge, we did get one full episode that was the wall that did feel pretty extenuous because it goes over a long period of time. In fact, a year's worth. But I don't remember there being any touch-ins. Well, maybe you're right. There was 2, because there's kind of a murder mystery type thing at the wall, and then we also have kind of the tie-in of where we left off, right, in the first season. So yeah, maybe there is 3 episodes. To me, it felt less material, and I don't know why. I think maybe it's because before we get to the one episode that has the whole focus on the wall, it seems like it's all focusing on just pieces of one bit of the story versus the episode that we get that's all centered about the wall. I really did enjoy that. I think the direction of some characters in that made me like it more, because it does seem more of takes more of a, what would you call it, a foreseeable twist that they're gonna do. But I think there's some choices for the relationships with certain characters that make it less generic. But I think overall I did where it left off, because season 3 is gonna have some it's going to have some clashes that people, who are you going to root for type deal.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I think there's less probably school scenes or town scenes in this one. There are more just interesting skits where they go interesting places.
Oh, that's right, because we have the, what is it, the camp?
Yes, the camp, going to camp episode. That one's great. You have, you just have a lot of interesting locations in this one. You even have more of a backstory of other of the aliens who escaped to Earth. So yeah, and I think the tone is pretty consistent. It's a lot of skits and a lot of just weird things that they're doing, And if you like that part of it, or you like the absurd side of the first season, there's a lot more of that in the second season. But at the same time, I think like the comedy is still well written show. You have a lot of comedic moments and just interesting set pieces to look at for sure.
Yeah, I will say it probably goes bigger in the second season than the first one. So I think for like the wacky, zany, like goofiness that Justin Roiland is known for, it definitely, I think, blossoms even more so in the second season. And I think since that is like half of the reason why I enjoy the show, I did like those moments a lot more maybe than... I mean, I think there's still some episodes that maybe aren't as good as the top ones in the first season, but overall I think it is an improvement. The Wall is like one that I think, because it was such a big, unexpected, like great thing from the first season, maybe that just left me greedy and wanting the same level or more. And because of what we got, I felt like, I like the little glimpses, but I wish we could have gotten more because I didn't think it was the same amount. But I think, like I mentioned earlier, it leaves it off in a way that I'm not, unhappy about the result. And since we know that there is 2 more seasons coming that have been renewed, there's plenty of opportunity to focus on that. I am curious where it's going to stand in the longevity of the show, because it is something that's kind of started and I think almost helped it get to the popularity that it is. But I am wondering if it's going to be something that's going to feel dragged out when it is more of a serious part of the show,
Yeah, that's true. And, it did leave us with some big questions. We have to find out if our main character will ever live his life as a gangster. We have to find out if the replicants will ever grow and become adults.
One thing is for sure, don't ever touch my dick.
That's true.
Even if I'm dead.
That is true. That is true. We got some, BDE or something?
Oh, yeah. And Sigourney Weaver makes an appearance. It's great. It's great.
Yes, that is true. But yeah, no, this honestly, if you like the first season, you should go and watch the second season. It's something that is very bingeable because there's not many important plot elements, but you can also just have, one episode here and there. It's,
I am curious to see with people out there, since there is such a big comparison with Rick and Morty and this, because obviously there's one of the same co-creators, I do wonder how many people look at this show and be like, oh, this kind of reminds me of Rick and Morty when it was still good, for those people that, think Rick and Morty is declining. I'm personally not in that camp, but I do kind of wonder if there is that comparison there. But overall, I do think that, if you've liked the earlier seasons of Rick and Morty, or you continue liking Rick and Morty, this is a show that you definitely need to watch, because it is kind of that same vein. And I think even, for people that are more on the I'm more like a visual person when it comes to animation. It's got some really good animation. I think the quality of the show, regardless of how you feel about it, is there. You can tell definitely a lot of passion went into the second season.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily, I kind of understand there's a difference here with Solar Opposites. I think people have gotten so passionate about Rick and Morty and the story that I feel like Justin Roiland and the other writers and creators of the show don't have as much freedom to just be crazy out there. I feel like on Solar Opposites, literally no one cares about what's going to happen, so just go with it. And some of the best shows can be like that if they don't take themselves too seriously. Now, that's not saying anything wrong about or anything negative about Rick and Morty. I still love it, but it is got a different kind of style just because of it doesn't have any expectation to uphold, really. Yeah.
And since Rick and Morty's kind of going into, they still do wacky and goofy things, and it's still a comedy show, I think. But since it kind of does veer more into the serious, this is kind of like the left arm to the right arm kind of thing. So, maybe just on the same level, just a different thing. But with my verdict coming along, I will say I think it is, at least from what I remember, more enjoyable than the first season. At least I think maybe it just felt like, since I knew what was coming from the show, it let me just kind of enjoyed the ride instead of constantly thinking what this is going to be or what's going to be coming next. Maybe outside of the wall stuff, but overall I would give it a high worth it. It's still one of those shows that, I watch because I enjoyed it enough to binge, but I don't know if it got canceled tomorrow if I would necessarily be devastated, you know? But, you know, so my stance is kind of like, I could take it or leave it, but looking at it, still a very good quality show, still really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd probably give the same rating as well. If you haven't watched season 2, now's a good time to watch it if you're interested in the show. And if you haven't seen Solar Opposites at all and you're kind of a fan of the animation and the Rick and Morty kind of genre, you really should watch it because it's a fun time and it's something you can watch and not care about, you know, what's happening in the world for a little bit. Just chill and relax, you know?
Yeah, and plus, like, you know, for all you Rick and Morty fans, like, you can always, like, speculate this is just a different dimensional version of Rick, since the voices are kind of similar, you know?
That's true.
But anyway, guys, that'll conclude this. We'll be back for more stuff. Can't wait to get into more animated stuff. I know there's a couple of shows we need to return for, so stay tuned for that. And as always, peace, addicts.
Later.